Before we get to our main presentation, I have a little tale to tell. A tale of how our match came to be. It was December 1st, 2018, and a tournament was beginning. In the first round, your boy, TonyG, was up against Resound. Dun, 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 dun. They battled it out. TonyG's Zerg doing what it can to battle against the odds in spot positional disadvantages and Zerg missed matchups. He does what he can to stay alive, to fight back, to never give up. Despite every storm drop destroying his economy, he keeps himself alive, staying alive, having that hope, having that dream. Able to win his first match, Zerg vs Protoss goes in to game 2. He gets Zerg again in close position to the Terran player. He's a little bit more confident this time. Does what he can to hold on. He stays, he survives, he holds. He gets himself in a position where he can go on the offense. Guardians doing massive damage to the Terran, Wraiths having to fight them back. So much happening, so much to do. A massive, beautiful drop full of overlords is coming in. It's filling up and it is going in. It's coming in and it's landing. It's throwing down swarms. It's dropping hydralisks. It's lurkers. It's destroying all of the SCVs, the economy. There's no tanks in position and it looks like TonyG is gonna get... Oh, just a leave game. A no GG, but TonyG advances onto the second round. And this, my friends, is where our story really happens. We are matched up against one of his non-spoken, unspoken, spoken, I don't know, rivals, models, a fellow streamer, caster, StarCraft entertainer. Who will win this battle of two StarCraft fastest giants? Find out now. What is up, YouTube? What an epic intro. How dope is that? We are here, and now we are casting the best of three between Models, aka Sale, and TonyG. The winner will advance onto the finals, where the Korean Slayer is awaiting the winner. It is a best of three, and these two players crushed their first round, as we saw in that sweet little, dope little, cool little, awesome, that took a long time to edit together highlight video that I hope you guys enjoyed. We are playing SCW. I don't know why the Observer cares so much, but yeah, we do have TonyG for having playing Zerg for the third time in a row. This is supposed to be Arverzar. He's gonna go for the standard hatchery first here, and models. A very low money, goes through high APM. I thought he was a Korean player, but I guess he isn't a Korean player. He is very confident. My fans need my rep pack. I sell it $15 a month. He's a very confident man. And I think he was pretty sure he was going to 2-0 TonyG here. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see if TonyG can hold up versus this high level player here. He is sending that first Overlord out to see if that guy is beside him, but it is not. I'm so happy Tony doesn't lag. Oh, look at that. He's actually going to get a little bit of a compliment there. TonyG does not lag. Of course, he's got the highest, fastest internet in all of Canada. He doesn't lag ever. Ever. No matter what game, no matter how much he's downloading, no matter how many browsers he has open. He could be watching 14 tabs with YouTube, watching 1-hour videos, participate in the game, and there would be no lag for TonyG. He's going to send that drone up here, make sure that there isn't going to be any block. He will be getting that sunken down ASAP. Maybe a little bit too early. Probably could have sent that second one down. But he knows that Sale is an aggressive player, and he does not want to die to anything too quickly. So he is going to get that sunken up ASAP. A couple of Zerglings will be built. He is probably being a little bit over defensive here, considering he hasn't even been scouted yet, building all of these lings, but 4 lings will be pretty nice. 2 to kind of stay back and 2 to scout out. We see a double scout. The first Marine went out here to check, to get some extra scouting done. The 2 more Marines in base, going to make sure that no cannon snuck in here, Overlords into his base. The first Zerglings are going out to scout what's going on. It's been 2 minutes and 44 seconds. He is getting a little suspicious. Maybe he's getting cheese, so he's going to send all 4 lings out. Not worried about a Zealot run by any longer. A second sunken colony is going up here, not being too defensive. He did get his 3rd hatchery up. We do see the Academy going down for our Terran player so far. Nothing too different. We're going to see if he's going to throw down factories in the base with these, or factories in the middle of the map with these SCVs that he does have, or if he's going to do what we've seen Sale do quite a few times before, just throw down a bunch more barracks and do his cool little stim attack. We've seen him do that plenty of times before. He is pretty good at it. He has got some pretty good medic marine control. We'll see if TonyG is going to be able to scout that out or able to hold on. If that is the case, these these Zerglings are going to scout all the positions, so he is going to know that our Terran player is in the top right position. He does have his 1 geyser down, probably going to throw down a layer ASAP. We do see an additional rocks thrown down, so we are going to see the classic Sale stim break, I do imagine. It's going to be up to TonyG to hold it. He does have his sunken colonies out in the front so far, pushing forward to try to delay a tank push if it is going to come. These Marines are really paranoid about something sneaking in the base. We do have these Zerglings not going to go in, just going to patrol to see if there's going to be any drops in the future, but I guess Models did see that there was some Zerglings on the map, so he is going to send some Marines out in pretty good positions to scout if there is any Overlords out here. Some high level stuff here, but he is going to manage to miss our little brown patrolling Zerglings here.
I don't think he's going to see them. Maybe he will. He probably will scout that entire box and maybe kill that off. We see more and more Marines up here, more sunken colonies being added. Not, no Hydralisk Den yet, so I don't know what the exact tech path for our brown player is. He still hasn't scouted exactly what's going on, just more barracks being attached, no factory, so it looks like Sale is going to do his famous Marine super duper pressure all in. You can see his APM up there almost into the 300s. This guy is a high level player. Will TonyG be able to hold on? His Zerg has been holding on pretty good this tournament. Will he be able to do it once more, pull off the upset win here? All of the Marines coming in here, 65 supply to 32 supply. He's got to get these medics in the right position. You can see him doing a nice job getting them all at the front here, so they will be able to do a good job healing all of his stim compadres. More and more Marines being rallied down. A factory is started. We do see the stim going in now. Oh, he is going to wait for his little medics brother in, or maybe pick up an overlord. I don't know. Going to go in here. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sunken colonies here. It is a lot of Marine and medics pushing forward, able to fight these sunken colonies one at a time. Drones being pulled up here to try to build more, but so far these Marines are doing a pretty good job being healed by these medics. They are getting lower in numbers, but more reinforcements are coming down. This is getting closer and closer. These more and more sunken colonies are being created. TonyG doing what he can to hold on, maybe underestimating this push. Oh, the Marines coming in even closer now, targeting these sunken colonies before they can get finished. This is not looking good for TonyG. They are finishing, but they aren't finishing altogether. These Marines are able to fight them one at a time as they complete more and more sunken colonies being ravaged by these Marines. The stem push looks like it's going to probably be too powerful. No lurkers at home. No Queen's Nest started. No, more sunken colonies are trying to be thrown down here, but they are not being created fast enough. This Marine army is way too close. It is too powerful, and it does look like TonyG's Zerg is going to be able to hold on. Oh, good God, this is carnage. Very powerful, strong toe. So he does have a couple sunken colonies at home, but TonyG knows it's inevitable, and he's going to call a GG, and he's going to fall. Oh, 1, 2 models, aka Sale. Oh my goodness gracious. Did TonyG really make a hype video just to get crushed that badly? I don't know. We're going to jump into game number 2.
Game number 2 begins. This time TonyG finally getting some luck with random and will be blessed with the Protoss race, giving himself a chance to fight back in this 0-1 deficit that he does have. Sale again, not happy that this game is full of observers and wanting them to leave, as he is feeling some lag. Every little bit of lag Sale can feel inside of his bones, inside of his brain, inside of his blood. He feels his lag. He hates it. He pauses it. He's begging people to get out. And I don't even know what's happening. They are arguing. TonyG, though, is going to be Protoss, and he will be against Sale Terran again. We'll see if he's going to do his 5 racks medic strategy that he loves to do so badly, or if he will do something else. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him play TVP too many times. I've only seen his Terran vs Zerg a lot. The first scout for TonyG is going to go across map. Not going to have the luck to find him. Going to throw down a couple of gateways right away. Not going to go for that Nexus first, as he knows that Sale does have a very, very aggressive play style. Doesn't want to get caught off guard. Going to throw down first 2 gateways. Throw down a pylon at front, just in case any pressure goes. He is playing a little bit more scared than usual, but understandably so, as his opponent is a very strong player, and TonyG is 1 game away from being eliminated from this tournament. The first SCV is going to go out scouting for the mid build, not able to see anything. The probe does look like it did scout our white player. Yes, both of the probes are going into the correct position. He must have scouted him. He looks like he's going to possibly go for a cannon rush. A forge is going down before a Nexus, so TonyG getting a little aggressive himself, throwing down a pylon at the front. This other probe trying to sneak in, but it is scouted by that SCV and will be taken care of
with this Marine. The SCV is going to find the correct location of our Protoss player and see exactly what is going on. The first two Zealots are going to pop out, ignoring that SCV, and are going to go to try to help his probe brethren get a couple of cannons down, perhaps to slow this Terran player down. The Terran player has thrown down a gateway or a bunker, as he is now a little scared of aggression himself. We do have another pylon somehow this probe somehow evaded those Marines and was able to stay alive in this corner. Our sail is going to be diligent on scouting his base though, and going to clean up this sneaky probe. More cannons going down, or two cannons are going to go down to try to establish the choke point inside of the Terran's base. I'm not sure if the Terran is going to allow this to happen. They are going to target this first Marine who isn't with his brethren. They are going to micro back, doing a nice job. The Marine is going to try to run away, but it is to no avail. These cannons are getting close. If he can get these up in his base, it will be good. But these Marines are in big numbers. These two Marines are going to try to do what they can. They are running back for the cannon to get finished. These two cannons are going to get up and going to get a couple of shots off on these Marines. The Marines are going to get bloody. They are going to be able to take it off these Marines, or these Zealots, and pylons probes are going to run home. He is going to throw down a nexus behind that. That wasn't some real aggression. That was just some kind of, we'll see if we can get it done with two gateway aggression, as he didn't go too crazy with that. So I feel like that was pretty good for TonyG. A pretty good start, taking out a lot of the Marines, and it is going to put the Terran on a little bit of a defensive stance here. You can see that he is really aggressive with scouting his base. He knows that Protoss love to get some pylons in their base and get a cannon rush if they can. Lots of cannons are going to go down in TonyG's choke. He isn't going to die to any kind of Marine pressure. It does look like that was his plan again, but he is going to cancel the barracks, realizing that it isn't Terran versus Zerg, and he does have to switch up his builds once in a while. These cannons are going to be finished right as these Marines tried to come up to the front door. There was enough Zealots there probably anyway. The tech has started here, or two gas have been thrown down for our Protoss player. We're going to see him get his economy up nice and nice. I imagine that sail here will be going for a tank drop as soon as his tech does get up there, as he isn't a very aggressive man. TonyG does have a pylon up on the map. He is scouting his base to make sure no barracks have been landed. He does not want to get fire batted, a common move for the Terran, who are aggressive players, like to lift barracks into the Protoss base to build some fire bats. These are all the common locations that they like to do that, to try to get these stacked up collecting workers here. Our white player throwing down his nexus here, getting Marine range here, so it looks like his infantry will be a part of his strategy for the full game here. A robotics facility is going to be thrown down here very close to our Protoss, our Terran player. 3 gas and a core is completed for Mr. TonyG. Is down in supply a little bit. The macro for our white player is very, very good. TonyG, though, putting himself in a pretty good position to get himself into a Game 3 versus Sail, to get himself a chance into the finals of this tournament. We can see the factories machine shop is being completed. Siege mode will be started immediately. A couple of tank brethrens will be pumping out, probably to join these Marines in an attempt to break down these cannons at this choke. I do like that these cannons are so far out, so he's not going to let the Terran get in any kind of bunker surround on his base too easily. If you were to put these a little bit farther back, it does give the chance to Terran a chance to kind of choke you in, even on these side spots. So nice placement here by TonyG. I do like that his Citadel of a Dune is done. We see a dropship and our robotic support pay going down. A Templar of Archives started. All of the attack and economy is all coming together. The gateway explosion, as a famous Tastosis likes to say, is coming in here for our Protoss player. He wants to be able to mass up a lot of Zealots with those Zealot speeds. The +1 upgrade all will be helpful. This drop is going to be coming in here a little bit later than usual, but that isn't too bad as long as it is still there. If they can get some damage done, that'll be nice. Only one turret is in place right now. One bunker at home. I don't know if it's full. Another turret is going down here at the bottom. He knows that drops will be coming and probably coming soon. Two zealots did try to sneak by, but not today. Mr. Sales says no, no, no. An SCV gonna come up here, maybe scouting, maybe going to build something tricky up there. I don't know exactly what his plan is up there. It is possible that he is suspicious of some kind of proxy, as Protoss do like to do that, but no, he's going to build a turret, thinking that the drops may come from the main base, but he doesn't know that they're proxied, so we can confirm that Sale does not hack, that is for sure. We've seen him stream, so we weren't even suspicious about it, but we know now. Very good macro by our Terran player, not missing a beat, getting every supply depot down in time for another round of units. The first drop is going to come down. There is a couple of turrets. TonyG, though, is going to be able to just go right around, but into a couple of Marines here. This first Reaver does go down. Going to take out those first couple of Marines. Will TonyG be able to micro this in? A couple of more Marines pop out. They stim forward and they take that out before it can get into the economy. Very good defense by our Terran player. The Terran continuing to apply pressure, pushing forward, taking out those first cannons. TonyG, though, does have a couple of cannons here back while he is macroing. A couple of High Templars are out. Storm probably, hopefully, is being upgraded. Another gateway is being added, or a starport is being added up here to get those Corsair out to shield from those turrets. An SCV is coming up here, not going to go all the way out, just going to throw out more and more drops to try to find where these drops are coming from. He thinks they're coming from the main base, but little does he know that they are proxied out here. The Terran pushing in, being very, very aggressive here against our Protoss player, throwing in one DT here to try to do what he can to push this back. Not going to micro it away, though. It is going to get taken out with a scan that is going to push the Terran back a little bit now that he does know that DTs are out. He isn't going to give up his aggression, though. More turrets are going up around his base. He does not want to get dropped. The second drop will be a High Templar drop, no longer a Reaver drop. The tanks up at the top here, getting pot shots off on this Nexus and that cannon. A lot of pressure from our Terran player. 1/16 supply, but our Protoss is massing up nicely in here, getting himself a very nice army while getting his drops up. If he is able to get a drop off and take out this front choke, he will be in a great position, as he will be able to regain map control, take out all of these turrets, and then make sure those drops aren't scouted as securely. He's spreading his units now, probably getting them in some control groups so they can all send together and not jump or fight in a straight line, where they will be a lot more vulnerable and way less useful. The Protoss supply now getting higher and higher, almost surpassing the Terran player. The Terran player, for some reason, building his factories like a noob. I don't know why he isn't putting them just one pixel closer. If he's going to separate like that, he is just wasting space and making himself look a little bit pubby there with his building, but that's okay. He is very ghostly. His APM is so high and his macro so good that we aren't going to be too hard on him for that. He is pushing forward, not afraid at all of our Protoss player. Our drop coming in from that same location. Oh, going to go down. The Corsair taking a lot of those shots, but there is a lot of Marines here. Going to be able to pick off that dropship. Again, very nice defense by our Terran player. Our Protoss player now pushing forward at the choke, gonna get a very nice storm off all of those tanks, and those Marines are gonna be moved back before that second storm can do anything. He probably should have just thrown that down on those tanks to take them out, but that is what you want to do. You want to send in a couple of units to protect your High Templars and then get those storms down. Protect and storm. This SCV getting dangerously close to our drop expo here. I'm not sure if it did scout it. It looks like it possibly did. I don't know if it's just patrolling or what it's doing there. Lots of activity on the map for our white player, getting himself very good map control. He is relying, though, a lot on this push. I feel like if this push doesn't do damage, he won't be in the greatest position. He will lose all of his map control. He is being very aggressive. You can see the Protoss supply now at 170 to 120, doing very nice storms off here, doing massive damage to the tanks and the Marines with these storms. Oh, another storm gonna go down. Yes, another great storm by TonyG, getting 4 or 5 tanks there. Now gonna send in more High Templars with some more units here, all going to mass in. This looks like it will be too much. Protoss for this little Terran push. It looks like White may have to reset, may have to retreat back to his base. TonyG putting himself in a great position, surviving, holding on that power push. You can see White all over the map scouting, but he does have a lot of tanks at home, and he is in the corner position, so I feel like he may not die to this, but I don't think this is going to be the easiest hold. We do see them sieging up now, knowing that this Protoss army is running right over to his base. High Templar at full. High Templar is going to die before it throws down storms. That could have been devastating if he threw down 2 storms there. He could have possibly GG'd him right here. But will it matter? More zealots reaching the tank line. More goons pushing forward. The tanks are being pumped up, sieging up. The couple of vultures are being pushed. A drop coming in while all of this is happening. Is he going to get it in? It's so low and so low, but he does get it in. Is the High Templar going to go down? Oh, it's going to go down. Getting himself 8 kills. Not too bad. That was close. That dropship was low. These tanks are falling at the front. More and more Protoss army streaming in. Will the Terran be able to hold on? He is massing Marines here. Massing Siege Tank Vulture, doing what he can to survive. These tanks do need to push forward to close the gap. Another High Templar gonna get picked off before it throws down a storm. TonyG, what are you doing with your 200 APM that you can't control a couple of High Templars? The Protoss army is going to move up here to try to make sure that the Terran can't just try to hold one choke. He is going to have to clean up these units while also worrying about the stream of units. Another High Templar. I don't even want to watch this High Templar. I know that it's going to die after his 3 brothers before. The White is pretty good at picking them off. Oh, maybe it is going to be... No, it is going to get picked off right away by a Widow Mine and a Siege Tank shot. These zealots and goons that did run up here are doing a great job. Going to clear out these turrets for this next drop. Very nicely done here by TonyG, but excellent hold by Sale. Going to survive here. Very nice job with his tanks and vultures to hold on. He does have a little army up here to clear up these last few units that did run up here. Maybe TonyG sending up more up into the corner, right at his siege mode, going to clear off these turrets. This is what he wants to do, as his drop proxy is on this side. This is where he will be dropping the most. So that is a good idea, good job here. We can see a very low dropship here. I'm not sure what it did. Maybe ran down into a turret that is up on the middle of the map. More High Templars and goons coming up here, but they are misclicked. The goons going to come off here to clear up these tanks and turrets that are all over the map. Very nice stuff here by TonyG. White is going to hold on. TonyG is max though. He is going to most probably be coming in. What is he even maxed on here? I guess he's going to be doing quite a massive drop here. He did send those units up for a big time drop here. Going to go in at the top. A couple of turrets have rebuilt, but I don't know if that will be enough. A couple of Corsair were in the map. A very good pull so far from our White player, but this is going to be a lot of High Templar damage. A lot of High Templars did drop in here. They are pretty good against all Terran units here. Not much help though with them, so they aren't going to get as many kills as they possibly could. Still going to get some storms off. White was able to pull down here. He does have a lot of map control though. He's got units all over the map for some reason. I guess it is just kind of spotting. Not the worst thing possible, but yeah, we can see White's supply. Oh, White's supply is a little bit below, but he is still high. His economy isn't too bad. His upgrades are 1-1, which isn't also not the worst thing. We do have 2-1 for our Protoss player, and it looks like map control is going to be established now for our Protoss player. He's going to put a couple cannons and get his gateways just that much closer to the Protoss army. More Stargates being added up here, so maybe an eventual carrier transition too. Also will be very nice, as it will be nice and close to the Terran's main. Terran going to throw down a bunch of Widow Mines with these vultures, which is very good to picking out zealots and anything that does dare to go up there without observers. One turret is going to spot this drop. Another massive drop gonna come in here. I don't know if the money boy, yeah, the money boy is alive. This is actually another pretty big drop here. Lots of High Templars and Zealots are getting another great pull by our Protoss player, our Terran player. Going to keep a lot of his workers alive. Nah, maybe not the, maybe if that took all those out, that would have been okay. Maybe not the best drop, but still, you just want to be doing damage. Oh, a couple of Zealots or SCVs that weren't fully pulled are going to get picked out by these goons at the front that are going to continue to pressure. We do see Arbiters being created now for our Protoss player, continuing to mass his dropships. Maybe going to do some big old hallucinated recalls into possible carriers. We do see the carrier tech, the fleet beacon, and the cybernetics core gonna go down up in this top position. Not the most cannons up here at the front. He does have 2 probes to do that if he does need to eventually. Another massive drop in here, going to go in the front. Oh no, it's not gonna go in the front. It's just gonna chill. He is continued to maxed out, but I just don't know where all of his supply is. Possibly too many probes right now. TonyG's army, I guess he is building, he's massing up in all of these gateways. So he does just have all of his units being built right now. I'm going to send him 12 Zealots here to scout how much defense, really that's, maybe it's just a misclick. I was going to say, there's no reason to send in 12 Zealots like that all by themselves here. A very lot of dropships. Okay, maybe they're all going to come in here just to be loaded up into their dropships. A lot of dropships here, and they are all, most of them have units in it. It is a fairly big drop again coming from our Protoss player. A lot of High Templars coming up here. That is key versus pretty much every race. If they are going, yeah, you just want High Templars. High Templars are pretty good versus Terran, pretty good versus Protoss, especially good versus Zerg. A massive drop coming in here with a small little Dragoon army. This looks like it's going to land right on top of these tanks. Very nicely done by TonyG. A big clear out there by Zealous, going to have all that splash damage, take out that big pile of tanks. Also is going to disrupt quite a bit this choke. It is going to be a pretty good pretty good shot there. Pretty good try there by TonyG to break that. He did take out a lot of siege tanks, which you do want to make sure is low. You can see with this weird building of factories that he is having difficulty maximizing his space in his base. He really should consider putting these guys together. You can see that he obviously knows how to do it, but I'm not sure. A couple of storms going to go down there, maybe whiff in a bit. Arbiters are ready though now, so stage 3 will be recalls. Recall probably into carrier, but maybe he doesn't have, oh no, he's gonna make sure he does have enough stargates to get carriers if he does need to. He does have to be worried though, if it does get scouted, this will be pretty, there's not many cannons to protect it, so this could be taken out fairly easily. A couple of High Templars gonna get picked off, but they do throw down a couple of storms, so their death wasn't in complete vain. More army gonna come up here to try to make sure that this Terran can't move out. The Terran's bank isn't humongous, so he does have to worry, as he doesn't have the most gas to remax his army. Maybe that push out was a little bit overzealous. Maybe he thought that the Protoss was transitioning into carriers, because once the Protoss does transition into carriers, you know he's not going to have a ground supply for it until they're all built, right? All that supply is going to be tied up into carriers that are producing. So that's why you want to have a pretty big cannon base here before you go into carrier, so you don't die to any counterattack. That Arbiter is going to be picked off without doing too much damage. You can see the Dragoons here have taken out all of these turrets all around. Map control basically back into Yellow's favor completely. These Zealots are just going in one by one, getting picked off. We didn't see that freeze there, but that wasn't the most useful freeze in the world here. Our Terran about to be maxed out again. Another drop going to come in the front. I don't know if he's going to try to go for the economy, but yeah, good luck without any Corsair Brethrens to protect you. We do see the carriers have begun now for TonyG. He does have all of his units up in a little clump. Maybe he's going to try to get a sneaky recall in somewhere. The white player, though, doing what he does best, attacking. Going to try to push out again. As soon as the attack stops from the Protoss, he goes on the attack. A couple of High Templars here. Going to throw down some nice storms, getting their damage done. Doing what they can, weakening all of these Terran units, so when a mass does come out, he will be okay. The Terran, though, pushing out with 2-1 upgrades versus 3-2-3 upgrades from our Terran player. The Arbiter is doing a great job cloaking all of those units, as he doesn't have any vessels out here for any EMPs or anything. That is what the Terran is missing the most right now. He just needs to be EMPing, as the Protoss has been using High Templars a lot. He doesn't have the much anti-air either, really relying on his ability to just mass really quickly. It's very good macro. You can see TonyG trying to throw as many cannons as he can up here to buy some time for these carriers that are all building. Now, the carriers should be able to clear up this army for sure. I don't know how much damage they're going to be able to do on a counterattack, but if they are accompanied with a recall, that could be deadly. The Protoss does have a lot of weapons, but he does have to worry when the Terran does get in a position like this. They are deadly. TonyG is going to try to kill off a couple of his probes as he realizes that his army may be too small. He does have a lot of zealots here with High Templars. High Templars with Storm are able to do a lot of damage. We can see another little army coming down here to clear off any reinforcements and pick off those turrets that he did establish. We can see another little cannon mass here going to try to start from over here. Not the worst spot. A couple of scans going down. I didn't hear exactly where they were. These carriers realize that maybe they don't need to help. Maybe he's okay and he can try to find some counter damage. More and more carriers are being built. TonyG is going to be able to pull a little bit of a counterattack. It looked like he might have recalled with that guy. Oh no, maybe not. I'm not sure. Keeping that SCV alive. He's going to be able to do a little bit of a counterattack while most of the white army is over here with some carriers and zealots. Just picking off all of these frontal buildings aren't going to be the worst thing. More carriers are popping out. He may have to go back eventually to clear up all of these tanks, because that is a lot of tanks. This counterattack is a good idea, but he also needs to make sure he doesn't die. The Terran player has re-rallied his gateways up to his nexus. We can see now the Protoss player is going to go back to clear out this army. He wants to re-establish map control, doesn't want to give the Terran any kind of chance to get damage done. We do see these counters still picking off, just doing damage where they can. These tanks going to try to push forward. That is a lot of tanks here. These little interceptors aren't being built. These tanks are being very aggressive, pushing up the top. No cannons at all for TonyG. So will this be able to take out the Nexus? It is sieging very close. These probes will be vulnerable. They do get taken out. That is a lot of tanks. It looks like it may take out the Nexus. These carriers aren't targeting the siege tanks, and TonyG may lose his main, and it does. The main goes down. These aggressive tanks run by, doing massive damage to our Protoss player. They will be cleaned up eventually, and this will give the Protoss an opportunity, though, to go 200-200. So this could be a blessing in disguise. He does lose all of his economy, all of his Nexus, and all of his probes, but he did have a big enough bank that he is able to remax. You can see TonyG at 188 supply. He only has 4 probes. So this army, this supply is all army. Usually you have 50, 60, 70 probes, making it you only have 130 supply in army, but this is not the case here. TonyG has 200 army, and with a little bit of bank, so he is going to be able to mass up a little bit. Terran right now only at 178 supply, and he has a lot of workers, I guarantee it. So this is going to be a 200 army versus maybe 140 supply, maybe even less supply, and a lot of them will be in siege tanks. There is a vessel here to help detect, but this is going to be a massive push for our Protoss army. Fully upgraded ground army, almost fully upgraded air army with an arbiter, and more carriers are being produced. This is a lot of carriers, a lot of ground units. TonyG still does have a bank. He is going to throw down his Nexus just in case this doesn't work. He doesn't want to completely blow this game. But it is not looking good for our Terran player. She was able to get that Nexus, but now there is a 200 army supply. If he is able to pick off the interceptors, though, the Protoss will have a hard time rebuilding that, because interceptors do cost money. You can see the bank for our Protoss player getting smaller and smaller, and the supply, or in the economy for the Terran player getting bigger and bigger. This could be anybody's game. TonyG has to win this to survive. He's getting a couple of zealots up here to take up the turrets. He's starting to pick off factories, starting to make sure that nothing can survive, picking off each of these units, massing turrets back at home. Our Terran player, knowing that if he can possibly hold this, he may be able to come back. This game isn't completely over, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Mr. Models. The carriers moving closer and closer, picking off more and more factories. If he doesn't have any factories, he will not be able to make any more units. And if he doesn't have any units, he will not be able to kill these carriers. You can see our Protoss sending everything he has into here. He no longer has any money, so each of these interceptors that die will be the end of them. These carriers will just be big floating. They'll be called carriers, but they won't be carrying anything. The carriers won't be carrying anything. They may have to change names. He does need to keep all of these interceptors alive, picking off though each of these factories. Very nicely done. Really, really pushing this Terran into a corner. The Terran though hasn't quite given up yet. He does maybe still think he can go on. Maybe he scanned the economy of the Protoss and realizes that the Protoss is completely broke. But what can you do if you don't have any factories or starports? You can see all of his production facilities are just queued full of units. He is doing all of he can to survive, but he only has 86 supply versus 155. I don't know how many carriers that is. You can't really highlight them all, but that is quite a few carriers. Another line of units coming in. TonyG somehow scraping up enough money from his 12 probes to get another round of army. And with this army, I feel like there's no way he can hold on. Only 4 tanks, and now TonyG is going to pick them off. Oh, maybe he's not. There he is. And now he is targeting those tanks to pick off those tanks, so these Dragoons will be doing infinite more damage. These Zealots here, very nice targeting by our Protoss player, and GG will be called. We are jumping into Game 3. GG! Game 3! Will TonyG hold on? Oh. Score screen. Game number 3, the final game of the series. Winner advances to play the Korean Slayer. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen? Sale is going to be Zerg. He will be against TonyG's Terran. This will be the final game between these two for this tournament. This is the semifinals of the last game before the finals. I'm pretty sure that's semifinals, right? And we're going to see how she goes. We can see both of our players just spamming their hearts out. TonyG having 450 APM. It's actually higher. He's actually spamming higher than the crazy pro gamer Sale, who isn't the most good mannered. He is a little bit BM, but we're not going to hold that against him. He is going to get his first scout off, sending that overlord over, and that is going to cause him to throw a hatchery out in his main. Very, very interesting stuff here. Most people throw their hatchery out at the choke, but he knows that that will be vulnerable, especially if the Terran player did see that overlord. I imagine that he did. He is usually paying pretty good attention. Yeah, he definitely did. He is going to send an SUV out to see exactly what is going on. We see a spotting pool and a very quick geyser for our Zerg player, our Mr. Models, aka Sale, going for something super duper unorthodox, super duper aggressive, guaranteed. He's going to use his high APM to see if he can get himself a nice Korean victory here. TonyG doing his standard 3 racks. Okay, maybe he didn't see that overlord. He is going to scout in the wrong position in the bottom left here. Not going to be able to see it. He is going to send a marine out to see if he can see anything. This guy may be able to see this guy. Oh no, maybe, I don't know if they're going to see each other. No, he doesn't quite see it yet, so he's still not going to go. Oh, now he will. Now he should see. He should see that overlord for sure. He is going to see that overlord. going to hopefully move that SCV up immediately, not get too confused. Sometimes TonyG does get confused by where those overlords are coming from, even though it should be pretty obvious he's going down, and if it's not here, it should be here. Hopefully he does scout this out immediately. That overlord is going to escape, and the marine is going to... I don't know what he's going to do. The first Zerglings are out, put himself in a death position to die to these Zerglings. We do see the first 4 Zerglings going to come out. We do have this SCV. I don't know where it's going. It's going to go in the bottom right for some reason. These Marines are going to go over here for some reason, or these Zerglings. Another Marine out here, though, going to get picked off. TonyG needs to be keeping these units alive because Zerglings can get out of control if they do get massive numbers. It doesn't look like he's going to stop production. He does have his Zergling speed, so it looks like it's going to be a mass Zergling push here. TonyG is moving out. That's exactly what you don't want to do when there is mass Zerglings out on the map. These Marines aren't going to be in good position. TonyG, what are you doing? He's now going to spot a massive amount of speed Zerglings, and how is he going to react? He is moving his Marines back at home. He does need to throw down a bunker, I would imagine, because this is going to be deadly. A bunker does go down. The speedlings, though, are streaming in. Is TonyG going to blow this third game to a mass speedling build? A three hatchery speedling? You can see a layer going to go down. I don't know if it's going to be lurkers or mutas. We do see a bunch of SCVs with the Marines here to make sure that they can fight together. Splitting the Zerglings up nicely. Going to try to pick off the academy. Going to pick off one supply depot. The bunker is established, so he may not die to this, but if he takes a massive damage to it, this still could be worth it. Almost another supply depot going to go down, microing these Zerglings very nicely on two fronts. TonyG doing what he can to fight this as cost efficiently as he can. He knows if he can survive this, he may be in a pretty good position, as Terran army is pretty good early game. The Marine medics can destroy basically anything other than lurkers that the Zerg does throw out here. It looks like it's going to be Aspire, as he's just waiting for 200 minerals there, and there isn't any Hydralisk Den. You want that Hydralisk Den up way before, or not way before, but timed out nicely, so when the layer does finish, you can start that upgrade right away. Another double Zergling pressure gonna come in here. Get a pretty good surround here. We do have a bunker full of units. He is able to take out all of those guys, and picking off each of these Marines that do pop up, keeping this army nice and small for our Terran. But this bunker that is full of Marines is going to clean up all of them except for one little Zergling, and that Zergling is going to make his life worth it and delay that factory just a little bit more here. That Spire almost done, having a lot of gas here. He is going to have a fairly strong follow-up here of Mutalisk. I imagine he is going to save up his minerals eventually and pool up those larvas. TonyG does have an engineering bay. Luckily, he did build it over here that he's going to use it for scouting, but that's also going to come in super handy to be able to build turrets once he does realize that it is Marines. Once it is mutas. He's not sure if it's muta or a lurker yet. He knows that it's going to be one of those two. He has to know that it's one of those two. And he is going to try to get his starport up so he can get some either detection, or he wants a vessel up, right? Vessels are just the best thing versus both of these units. That will be a key. If you can get just like one siege tank or two siege tanks and a vessel up, your Terran army will be very, very powerful. TonyG going to throw down a command center and another engineering bay at home, perhaps going to start some upgrades. These Zerglings doing what they can to try to harass the Terran as much as they can. The nice little repair there, and this engineering bay is gonna get the first glimpse of Mutalisk. The engineering bay is gonna get a scout off, and he is gonna see that it is muted before they do come off, so he is gonna be able to prepare accordingly. That engineering bay is absolutely humongous. You can see the turrets getting thrown down ASAP the second he did see that. Now that he knows that these mutas will be harassing, that engineering bay absolutely important there, as it allowed him to get turrets and was the key scouting building there. He wasn't able to really get inside of that Terran base until that engineering bay got in, so he's going to be able to throw a lot of turrets down, make sure that these annoying mutas can't do too much damage. Our Terran player is still on the defensive and he hasn't quite been able to mass up a big enough army where he can move out. Only 3 sunken colonies though out here. So if he is able to get his choke established, he should be able to push out and possibly kill the Zerg player here. The Zerg does have a lot of mutas though, and with his 300 micro, with that little overlord there, you know that he can almost fight this cost efficiently. Only low money players can do this. I would send them all in and they would all just die, but he's able to keep them all bunched up so they don't get targeted down, running away, doing great job. Only high level APM players are able to do this, picking off a lot of Marines, but a stim forward, going to try to get into the sunken colonies range. More Marines are coming forward, applying a lot of counter pressure here, not letting the the Zerg player get comfortable, taking off 2 sunkens, healing up some of his Marines with these 2 medics. The mutants are going on a counterattack. This is a very intense final game, but oh my goodness, TonyG does have 2 Valkyries out right now, and Valkyries are pretty good versus a bunched up mutants. So that is actually a super duper, very nicely done here by TonyG, skipping vessels since he knows that it wasn't lurkers and going right into the Valkyries. I like it. Oh, look it, oh, look it, a lot. That is a very, very nice counter here. Now he just needs to heal up all of these Marines and go in. These mutants are going to just run in and die. Oh my goodness. Sale says good. I don't know if that was good for him. Maybe good for TonyG. Maybe he's giving him a compliment, weirdly enough. I don't know why he would say good in that situation, because it seems like it was anything but good. The first tank is going to be sieged up. We will reply. Gonna pick off a couple of these. The Scourges are gonna come in and take off the Valkyries. The Valkyrie, and one more Valkyrie though is back up here. The Marines are stimming, going to try to keep the siege tank alive, but they do able to pick off the siege tank, but maybe there isn't enough sunken colonies for them to alive. It would be nice if he had a couple more medics, but the siege tank is gonna siege up again. The Marines are gonna move forward. A couple more Valkyries are pushing forward, taking out all of these very bruised mutas. Nothing really back up. He does have a Hydralist and possibly going to upgrade Lickers, but the Greater Spire isn't nowhere near done, and the Greater Spire still won't be able to counter these Valkyries. More barracks back at home. The Terran macroing very nicely at home, getting all of his tech established nicely. He realizes that Marines, medics may be the best thing. He doesn't need to mass factories as there are no Lurkers. Very good game read. We do see a sunken colony coming down at home for the Zerg player. The Zerg player doesn't want to die here. He doesn't want to lose this tournament. This is a cash tournament. This is the semifinals, and he doesn't want to go down to the underdog TonyG in this game. The Marines moving forward, a turret getting placed very, very aggressively. These 2 tanks, once they siege, I can't imagine this Zerg living much longer. The mutants are going to spread nicely against that Valkyrie. They are going to get a couple shots off on these siege tanks. I don't know why TonyG is not sieging up. There he goes. Sale says, I like how lag started when I started using mutas. LOL, that's his way of saying GG, I imagine. From now on, 0 off. Will he say it? Will he say it? No, he doesn't. That's just his creative way of saying GG. TonyG says ... WDTF. He doesn't seal any lag, and he wanted that to be GG. Of course, Chaos and Noob making this game not end. I don't know why it's not ending. It's AV. It's time 16, and Chaos is somehow not AVing. Let's get to the score screen. What is happening? Why isn't this game ending? Okay, whatever. We don't have to wait till it ends. That was GG. TonyG able to defeat Models 2-1. Get that W. Half of the APM, but it doesn't matter. He's got the smarts and the brains to get past him. Oh, GG. GG. GG, GG, GG.